President Marion, fellow Rotarians and guests. Many of you will know that the Community Services Committee has a responsibility of recommending to our club board and to all of you about how the donations from the Salmon Knowles Trust are given every year. And we've been giving a bit of focus on this over the last couple of years, or 2 or 3 years, as long as I've been here at Rotary, thinking of a more sustainable way to use this annual funding. It says in the salmon part of the Salmon Knowles Trust that the money should be focused on the elderly, and from time to time should be made available to an organisation for medical research. It also says that it should be given to a researcher with a focus on a longer term project with enduring benefits. So it was these kind of ideas in mind that we started to talk with the University of Otago at Wellington about creating a scholarship for a young researcher, doing a doctorate, in some kind of medical research for the elderly. And it's taken a little while. I mean, it's a new thing for us, and scholarships are not so new for universities, I know, but it's taken about 2 years to kind of come to fruition, and we have Annabelle Greenwood as our first Salmon Knowles Rotary Scholar. So before I introduce her, I also should thank William Levick for the hard work that he's put in working with us to kind of make this happen, for organising the application, picking the recipient, and for the ongoing kind of conversations that we've had. So thank you. So Annabelle has been a stunning science student. She's got a double major in both biochemistry and genetics, and has an honours degree, and has been focused on cancer research. Cancer, of course, is the largest killer of all of us. Actually, it's the cause of the greatest death, and particularly in the elderly, so over the age of 65. So she's got a particular focus on bowel cancer in this research, and looking at genetic biomarkers, biological markers that will actually hopefully help all of us that are that age or getting towards that age. So with no further ado, Annabelle Greenwood, who's going to tell us about her research topic.
Thank you, Janice, for that introduction. That was lovely. Firstly, I just wanted to thank you, the Rotary Club, for giving me this opportunity. We're going to be undertaking some really important research over the next 3 years. We're so excited to get started, and at the same time, this is a really good opportunity for me to understand some of the really important things that you guys do, and so I feel really privileged being here today, so thank you. But to introduce ourselves a little bit better, we are from the University of Otago, Wellington. So Otago has a campus here, just a small campus, and we are situated by the hospital, so that's where you'll find us. And me and my supervisor, Dr. Kirsty Danielson, she couldn't be here today, but we are part of the Surgical Cancer Research Group. So this researches bowel cancer and breast cancer, and we are a collaboration of researchers, scientists, students like myself, clinicians and surgeons, and this allows us to do some really valuable research because we can work so closely with our patients, and they very kindly agree for us to take samples from them, so like blood samples, and that's what we do our research on. And so for my PhD, we are really interested in bowel cancer. Bowel cancer, as we know, is a major public health burden here in New Zealand. Compared to other countries, the rates are quite high, and so we see over 3,000 diagnoses per year, and this claims around 1,200 lives. And importantly, as Janice said, the majority of our patients are elderly. So this disease is really peaking in people in their 70s and 80s. And so there are really two key target areas that we want to address to improve the outcomes for our patients. And the first one is really earlier detection, because we know patients are more likely to be cured from the disease when we catch it earlier. And so you might have heard of the National Bowel Screening Program. It's currently being rolled out by the government across the DHBs. And just briefly, it's an at-home test that is then sent to the laboratory, and they detect tiny amounts of blood in the faeces or the stool sample. If this is positive, it is a risk factor for bowel cancer, and so you might be referred for a colonoscopy, and this visualizes these cancers, and then you would have a diagnosis. But anyway, this is a great initiative because it means we will be detecting these cancers earlier. And saying that, it's not a perfect test. So you can imagine someone with a positive test, they might not actually have cancer, and so that would cause them a lot of anxiety and stress. Colonoscopies are quite invasive. On the other hand, someone with a negative test, they may have cancer, and so that could go undetected for a period of time. And so this is really one area we want to complement and improve. The other area is really improving treatment for patients that are already diagnosed with bowel cancer. And one of the ways we can do this is by optimizing chemotherapy and radiotherapy regimens. So currently our patients will have surgery to remove the cancer or the tumour, and in addition they may have chemotherapy and radiotherapy. But currently we're not able to predict what patients will benefit from this therapy. Ideally, you would have a scenario where you would be able to spare this quite harsh treatment to patients that are not going to benefit from the therapy, and this is especially true for our elderly. And on the other hand, you would be able to give more intense therapy to patients that we know are going to respond to the therapy to give them maximum benefit. And so the way we want to achieve both of these target areas is to develop a really simple but effective blood test that can target both of these key areas. And so this blood test could tell us the difference between a healthy person and someone with early stages of bowel cancer. And in the other scenario, a bowel cancer patient who would say respond to chemotherapy and someone who won't respond to chemotherapy. And so we're imagining a single vial of blood can give us this information. And so a large amount of my project is going to involve looking for these tiny specific molecules in the bloodstream of our bowel cancer patients. These are called RNAs, and these RNAs are shed from the tumour or the cancer, and they travel throughout the body, through the bloodstream, and we can actually detect this in the laboratory. And so effectively these molecules are like signals or clues telling us whether a cancer exists and what that tumour is up to, how it's behaving. So that's just a really brief introduction to my project, and that's my supervisors there. Dr. Kirsty Danielson couldn't be here today, and also Associate Professor Elizabeth Dennett. Thank you to Associate Professor William Levac, our Associate Dean of Research, and also to Janice, and to the Health Research Council. They have funded the project itself, and again to the Rotary Club, thank you for funding me and giving me a few minutes to talk. Thank you so much.